Hello, welcome back. Last time I was all ready to have a room easily solved in one shot, but then the final ascent in it took longer than the rest of the room combined. But I did get it done. So now I'm here in a new place, which I am predicting, based on pattern recognition, is the last room in the level. However, that pattern is extremely tenuous. This looks small. Wait, it goes farther left here. Never mind, it no longer looks small. It looks huge. Okay. Oh yeah, this is final room. Like, every signal I'm getting here says this is final room. Okay. This pile of blocks! What is this? Yeah, alright, anyway. Strong feeling of finality in here. How do I even start? Probably an extended hyper would get me in there. It would indeed. Level wants to start me there, which kind of works. Okay, sure. So from not the edge, not going up and over there, there's nowhere I can reach from that. Alright, so I'm hitting that spot after this spot. I think I see how that would work. Let's try it out, just that part in isolation. Okay. So I do need to interrupt that. Is an up left dash sufficient to get to that spring? Doesn't look like it. So it has to be an up dash? What about up right? No way. Okay. So that does go where I expect. But there's a lot of problems in getting there. How do I get from this point to that point? It's possible I don't do it so quickly. If I just ignored the fact that there's a red here, where's the next red outline? All the way at the end? No. Here. Next red outline is here. Unless I missed one. Let's double check. This is yellow. That's white. Yeah, next red outline is all the way there. So all I know is I'm touching this spot down here prior to being all the way over here. Are there any clear, unambiguous points of no return? Clear and unambiguous, you say. This looks like one? No. And this is kind of toward the beginning. Okay, let's imagine for now that I don't go straight from here to here. Instead, I want to go upward. Ah, I think that tracks, maybe? Well, I have a few problems. But I could believe... Okay, let's pretend the switch was there. If the switch was there... Let's see, I can... Well... So I can definitely get to... Okay, how far does... Where does this go? I can figure that out like this. Off into space. It probably takes a long time to respawn, if ever. I'm wondering if I'll use that... I'll probably not use that a second time. That thing shatters immediate... Wait, no, it falls... That's not a mover, that's a different... Okay. Okay, so... The only way to learn this is by actually going and doing things. I think it probably wants me to start that moving... Whoa. It feels more natural, and I don't think that thing is involved in the eventual interaction with the red switch. So that falls down. But there's a lot that wants to shatter it. The trajectory here is bad. It just doesn't I guess technically I can do an up dash there, but that feels all kinds of wrong. I do need to veer left a little bit. I don't like that down dash. I don't know if it's necessary. Like, you do make it through there. Okay, theory is I'm going up somewhere, somehow. So that falls down. Everything just feels like it's in the wrong order. Okay, so this is second white. How many loops around which places am I doing? And what is this narrow little pinch? That looks nasty. I'm gonna guess that's pixel aligned with where that spring would take me. So it's right to left through there probably. So just make no inputs, spring on that, and fall safely through here, I hope. But there's also a way to fall through there. So I do one... Okay, so probably through here first. Okay, yeah, so there's definitely a loop thing going on. Loop 1, I hit this red, but not that one. I hit this white, but not that one. There isn't a yellow outline here. Yellow could just come later. The exit to that loop, on loop 2 I hit this white and this red. Maybe in that order? Man, I don't know. What does that thing do? Can I determine that at least? Okay, it's a little hard to do what I want to do here, huh? A little, but doable. Well, that didn't... Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to spend some time sciencing out, like, where things go, what lines up with what. Real attempts are not happening for some time. Okay, so for one thing, I never go left to right here. This is a right to left going passage. I think that narrow squeeze makes that very clear. Like, I am not going up through that. No way. And also, there's a white outline there, and I'd rather touch white solid. The way this is set up makes me feel like I want to wall bounce on that, but it will be disappearing too quick for that to happen. So maybe it's more accurate to... I don't know. I think I just want to, at any cost, climb my way up to here and see what this block does. You, mover down there, are going to be coming up and helping me in this spot. I'm probably wall bouncing on that right spiky surface to get through here. Then I dash right, I reverse wave dash on this thing. It falls down, by the way. Probably not to anywhere relevant. Its left side is clean. Reverse wave dash on that, get in here and probably complete the first loop. Well, or do I take the white thing then? Oh, so I hadn't considered the idea of not actually putting my feet down here and instead going left to right through here to touch that spot. That's a... well, okay, does this crystal regrow? It's gonna have to, right? Alright, which crystals regrow? This one does, yes. This one does not. Okay, wait a little longer on that. A little longer and do an up left dash, maybe? A little longer and do an up left dash, maybe? Does this crystal regrow? No. Yellow goes down and left, where I expected it to. Here. Okay. Alright, what does that block do? I think I can determine that without too much more going on. Right, wait, long. Very, very long. Wait, very, very long. Ah. Moving from here to here feels terrible every time. To the point where I feel like I'm doing something wrong if I'm doing it that way. I'm not going in with a clear plan for what I'm doing, which is part of the reason why nothing good is happening. Perhaps I should verbalize one. I have sort of like a vague idea in my head of how I want to move through this situation. Okay, so what I want to do. Bounce on this spring. Dash up so that I don't go into the spikes. Veer left so I hit this bottom spring. Either dash up and veer left or dash up left into this spring. At which point I'll be about here with the pink. Then I want to dash left, up, right, land, see what that is. Probably going to be an upright, that'll be easier than a right. So now that I've described that to myself, will it help me do it? Almost. I sort of tried to do the right thing, I just was too early with that dash. I'm going to pick either up or up left and stick with it. I guess I'm deciding up as my preference. Let's try up left again and see if it feels any better. Yeah. Okay. You fall down. Okay. Everything that falls down goes into the abyss, the world abyss, and never comes back. So I will never be seeing this block or this block on loop 2 or beyond. I don't think there's a loop 3 around this initial thing. So the path looks like... I don't suspect I want to start that part moving yet. Yeah, so I think loop 2 is going to look something like... something like... this. Not sure what happens after that. Because, okay, so what's behind the tall thing? Open path right there. How do I expect to get through the open path right there? That part's a complete mystery to me right now. I don't know how I ever go from, like, here-ish to here on loop 2. Things moving left that could help me. This, if it's still there, will that shatter? Looks like that touch switch is in line with it. Okay, so that floor is... yeah, so these floors skim... They're actually going to bump it up a little bit. They're like half a tile above the bottom of that. Alright, so you get bumped up by half a tile here. You keep that half a tile up height here. Yeah. Then the touch switch would destroy you. Touch switch, floor switch would destroy you. So I will have to put that down for you to continue to... I guess I need you here probably. Okay, so the next mover, this thing up here, is way too high to be relevant for that passage. Unless I'm going all the way up and over? If that were the case, these crystals wouldn't exist. Unless I'm going backward where the crystals are. I find that improbable. This crystal regrows. Okay, here's a query. Can I get to that from this state? Not quite. Gonna try a couple of other things here. No, that's... no. So at what point am I going right to left through this? And after I do that, what does the world look like? Ah, so what would make sense to me then is if that is the point at which I go through this passage. That would make sense if not for this red thing down here. So, realistic goals for the day do not include going through this passage. That is not going to happen today, probably. I have so many problems to solve first. But yeah, the, like, absolute stretchiest of stretch goals today, I think, would be to, like, touch this green crystal. That is the farthest I could plausibly expect to get today. Okay, so just figuring out the beginning. Do I have everything I would need to get to this white touch switch? Let's see if I can at least make that part happen. I'm possibly doing that on the way. I don't know, it doesn't feel right. And I can do without it, so I think that's a loop 2 thing. Bounce, go that way. Go this way, and then... Okay, well, I touched the thing. Alright, that was way easier than I expected. When I use... Okay, let's see how that spring works out for getting through the narrow thing. That's definitely out of sequence. But I'll need to know at some point, and it's a query I can run now. Let's also get just used to the feel of doing this exchange. I'm getting closer, but I'm not there yet. No, it's... I have to dash left but late. Left but late. Left but late. Up, up, left but late. That worked. I need an upright dash there, not a right. Okay. Maybe I could make a right dash work on a real run, but this run's not real yet. It'll be realized later. Ah! I'm gonna try up left again here, because maybe that's actually better. I got there too early. Does up left give me too little hang time? When am I touching that yellow thing? That's a good question. When am I touching that yellow thing? Don't know yet. Not worried about it at the moment. Could I... There's no way I could... Oh, hold on. Here's an idea. Is there any way... No, there's no way. Nah, I can't reach it from there. I don't have enough dashes. Let's try and do the up left path slower. I have lots of ways I can do that. Can't reach yellow and pink at the same time. Those two colors are incompatible. Okay, yeah, so I can get lots of hang time there. In fact, I got too much. Okay. Alright, so up left there is the more comfortable route, I'm gonna say. Yeah, I can just wait on the ground. That doesn't fall that fast. If I need to delay, here's the spot to do it. I gotta aim that wall bounce. Of course, it's out of an extended hyper. Alright, so got this pattern pretty much down. So after that... I'm going to estimate that it's not possible to resist, so I will want to interrupt down. Or up, if I'm not racing anything, which I think at that point I can't be unless I've activated this earlier. Interrupt up, to give lots of time to fall down here, and... Why is there a crystal here? If I were putting my feet on the ground, the only reason for a crystal to be there would be if it expects me to be racing, and I need to do a reverse wave dash really quick on this ground. Like, quicker than landing would afford. So that crystal worries me. I should do another dash there, I need the hang time. Okay. So I'm airing late on that. Let's just veer a little bit earlier. Earlier than you think. Yep, earlier than I thought. That's what I did. So also do that right dash a little earlier than you think. Earlier than you think. That's was the wrong kind of dash. Well, none of this is quite how I wanted that to go. The top of that is clean. How nice. Alright, so you gained a hat. The fact that that gained a hat, does it keep its hat? If I activate it? No. Could the hat mean anything? It has a clean left side. can't imagine what the hat does. Okay, so my goal is to spring on this and see what it does for that narrow gap. If I make no directional inputs, does it get me in there? You all know how good I am at predicting springboard trajectories, so since you know that, you know I have no idea what the answer to that question is. However, the level is laid out as though that would make sense. So it is my guess, but I must verify. Of course, the reverse wave dash is the thing I do wrong, the easiest move to pull off in theory, but except all the places where it's not that easy. Okay, again, interrupt up, not down. You're not in a hurry, so don't act like it. Interrupt up. Hit the spring. Not even close. Do I never use that gap and I instead go in and then back out? I don't think that is doable. So pretending the white thing was there. Ah, I'm completely wrong. I'm partially wrong. But that's because of this spring and that's way too early. There's no way I can avoid hitting these springs on the way up. Technically I think there might be. It's gross, and I hate it. But I think technically there might be. Let's see, how would I even... Oh no! I hate this idea, but it looks suddenly a little more possible than I was picturing. Hold up, I gotta try this. So veer earlier than you think. Oh! I mean... I can do that for one more, can't I? And the last one is a different kind of dunk. Well, I was there with the pink. I mean, I could learn it, if I had to. That is hateful. But it's possible. Alright, so I'm not happy to learn that that's a possibility I have to consider, but... there it is. Well, no, there it wasn't quite. Okay, so... bounce once, bounce twice, bounce thrice, get the thing, and I want to prove that I can actually get to that wall bounce in time by doing things this way. I think I can. It would make a little more sense for the yellow thing if this were the route. In fact, can I get that on the way? Hold on. Does this disgusting thing actually make sense? Now, if it did, the main possibility that would open up is using one of these springs for the white thing. So what would that route look like? Traced out. First I interact with the thing at the bottom. I don't touch the tall one. I dash up. Thing at the bottom rises while I dash over there once. I do a wall bounce here. I do this really quick, which I think just happens to line up. Oh no! This looks like what it wants me to do. Alright, let's prove it. But again, this is actually a little less bad than it looks. A little. And it looks pretty bad, so that's not saying much. Oh, I didn't quite make it, but that's probably possible. 1, 2, 3. I need to figure out a way to do all of that quicker. Yeah. Huh? That was a lot tighter than it was. The left dash there is not doing me any favors. I want to do the left dash from farther right. Whoops, that's the wrong thing to aim at. Okay, that's... well, I proved it. I bumped my head. If I bumped my head, I could have wall bounced. So that gets the yellow. It gets the yellow and leaves this spring, which solves the uncrossable gap problem. Now, I'm experiencing some serious uncertainty because there is that gap. There could have just not been. Maybe the gap is there just so I can have the fun of routing to see if I can go through it and realize that what I actually want to do is not. There are other possibilities too, though. So I guess this is just the way I'm used to going up now. So I'll stick with it. That's gotten disgustingly doable. Yeah, check it out, I totally just did it. So what I'm trying to do, though... whoops, that was not the... I need to use the second dash on... Yeah, just that makes more sense. There was too much waiting around in the other route to fit the overall vibe of this level. So I am quite convinced at this moment that this is the route that I'm taking. It just makes too much sense for it not to be. Okay, so now I'm trying to decide, like, is there a... No, like that gap is really tight. That is... To my eyes, that looks like a pixel-precise gap. If this springboard is not calibrated by default to put me in that gap, there's nothing else in the area. But let's try a down left crouch dash or an up right crouch dash, whichever direction through there I want to go. Okay, so let's try a different route here. What would that different route look like? Actually, okay, so pretend this is loop 2. I'll try that a couple of times and see if, oops, that wasn't in the right direction. See if I can make it in there. I can. I did. Let's see if I can do it a second time, or if that feels like a pure fluke. This is not the right route, but it's compatible. That is far less fluky than I thought. Now, down left is a little harder because I'd be interrupting the springboard, but let's try it. See how fluky it feels. Okay, so I have just unconvinced myself that I don't go through that gap. As in, I think I might now go through that gap. Whoops. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm discovering what the jigsaw puzzle pieces are, and a future step after this will be discovering how to put them together into something that activates all the touch switches before it leaves. Man, that went from seems like a joke to actually completely doable. I mean, I didn't do it on that attempt, but I was close enough. So, I mean, I saw where that springboard put me. It put me in this little cradle left of the gap. I made one attempt at a down left dash that was crouched. I did it too early and I died. I mean, down left is the exact opposite trajectory of up right, so if up right is possible, which I've done twice, down left is. It's just harder to time because a springboard is involved. If I did that, though... Okay, so where's this thing going? When's the next time I think I have to catch up with it? Here. This big void of nothing is gonna need some assistance. There? So hold on, what height are you at? Can I figure out how I would get through this gap, just ignoring the touch switches completely? I have one guess. Just for testing. I need to be lower if I want to double jump that. I should probably remove this barrier first. Well, I don't have a dash right now. But okay, so what's the trajectory of that spring? Too high. Well, what if I'm lower on it? I don't think it's a normalizing one. I'm trying to get this metal spring to a place where I can try to use it to move through that gap. A lot of setup is involved with that, but actually I think the shortest path to that would look something like this. Okay. Cool. So with this setup, that comes back reasonably quickly. I don't think I'm using it a second time though. So with that done, I'm going to start that thing moving, do the double climb jump I did, get it to this spot, spring when low on it, and see if that gets me comfortably through there to a place where I can use the pink crystal. I almost pulled it off. Let's practice that part in isolation. When do I want to... Okay, I don't want a left boost. This, I strongly feel, is not part of the actual room route. I'm just doing it now to test a thing. So it's hard to get the timing that won't kill me during that process. But okay, so wait a while. See, I'm actually hitting the top spike, not the bottom one. So the top one's the one to time around. There we go. Okay, so that's what I wanted. I just need to do that with this barrier removed at the time. That's way easier than I imagined. I got pink hair, I don't want it. That's not relevant to what I'm doing here. Yo. Do it earlier, okay. That is way easier than I would have imagined. Like, surprisingly easier. Whoopsie. Okay, so I should be able to at least test this today, I think. Will I, by the wording I used, technically hit my stretchiest of stretch goals? I need to be lower. Okay, so be lower during that process. There's only so much lower I can be, but there's a good bit. It's like a tile and a half. Yeah, okay, I'm having zero issue with that. Even lower than that, so like minimum height. The lowest I can be. That's not the lowest I can be. That was way higher. That was like 2 tiles higher than the lowest I can be. Have not failed that in the last several attempts. Well, that won't work. Yep, still haven't failed it. I will tempt fate by pointing that out. That was low. Yeah, alright. Viability proven. I was absolutely in range of that pink crystal. Though looking at this, maybe that is part of the official route. The double climb jump is not a move I've been asked to do at any other time in this level, but this is Grandmaster, anything goes. How does that look with an overall route here? It doesn't work with go... Wait, yes it does. Does it? Okay, I'm gonna do... Let's complete one loop. The one that I think I understand. Oh, not that. The one that I think I understand, and see what the state of the room is. Gotta be a little higher. So like the time I wait before my updash after this spring determines important spacing things. That was a little more spacing than I wanted, but I think it's compatible. It is. Okay. Alright, so this is one loop. The way I think I understand it. Everything went right there. That has a hat now. Making this springboard not any harder to hit, really. You have a hat now. Okay, that's interesting. I do see a thing that lets me do. I can wall jump on it. Does that get me any closer to where I want to be? Yeah, so that thing down there respawned real quick. So I will have no trouble getting to the white thing, right? Just do that the normal way. Done. Okay. 2 loops. There is a 3rd loop. So I gotta touch that red thing. And that's a problem, isn't it? I needed to have already done that, I think. This crystal here is still considered... Wait a second, I didn't start you moving. Let's imagine that I did. Yeah, that's why I'd be racing here. Wait, hold on. There was a pink crystal here. I had a dash I could have used to go right into this. And then be down here with this just having started moving. Okay. So my take is I probably needed to hit that red thing on an earlier pass, on loop 2. Because my dash budget doesn't quite work out now, right? Can I get low enough to hit that and do the thing I was doing? The hat also is made irrelevant. Oh, I can. Okay. Oh, well that... Okay. Okay, so I mostly proved the viability of that route. I did not actually start that thing moving. There is a pink crystal here, yes. And I don't know the relative timing between the two. Okay. Okay. Is springing on this while low still the only plausible way I'm gonna get through that gap? Yeah? There's nothing else around? Then there's another 5/3 of a room over here. Let's just do a quick little speculation on how that would go. So, Metal Spring Friend may catch up to me in time here for me to use it after getting through that. I think it will. If I'm springing on it there, the amount of hang time I get here could plausibly be sufficient. Then I spring on it again in this spot. Do a reverse wave dash on that. Into some sort of bunny hop here to gain a lot of speed, and then air hyper on the switch, because I'm racing to save my Metal Spring Friend from this floor switch. That floor switch has to stay up while I... Oh, there's a second one. A third mover gets involved. There's always a third mover. What does this look like? So after the air hyper, I dash with the one I got from the ground. I dash with one of the 2 pinks. That's an up left. I touch the white. I climb jump or wall jump here, do a reverse air hyper on that floor switch. Wait, who corresponds to what? Why are there 2? Because there's 2 doors. Do I go backward or forward? Probably... forward, actually. If I went forward... Is there a second loop all the way over here? Oh, no, I don't... Wait. Wait, what? Oh, hold up. Is this floor switch actually in line with anybody? Third mover comfortably sails over top of it. Second mover is way over top of it. That's way up here. Is it in line with anything of interest over here? That door. Check the top of it. I was checking the bottom. I need my non-finger reference object again, but finger tells me that the top of those two align. So top of this, where the door is connected, is equal to the top of the rightmost mover. Second door would also need to be opened for that to make it... Oh boy, okay. Yeah, there's a lot more to parse here. But okay, I have something that looks like a plausible route through the first bit. It touches all the switches, and it gets me through this. It's a little hard to pull off parts of it, but some parts are actually not so bad. It starts this moving... I guess the last query I would have is what's the minimum distance spread between, like, these two movers horizontally. I feel like they'll be nearly in line with each other, like one stacked almost exactly on top of the other. So that's how I'm going to imagine it. Those two move in a stacked formation. They pretty much exactly fit within the bracket of the screen here. One on the bottom, one on the top. Well, bottom of one at the bottom, top of the other on the top. I'm just wondering if this top mover is involved at any point. No, I think here, like, I ditch all of the movers after that spring. Do my own thing, gain a lot of speed here. And then try to save them. I don't know how this one gets involved, that's for later routing. Okay, this room is a lot, but I'll pick it apart one piece at a time. Now, theoretically... what I should be able to do is a truncated beginning. Do one loop to eliminate this. On the second loop, take the metal spring across, and I can also involve that. Simulate the room without having to do the 3 loops here to get all the touch switches every attempt for anything beyond here. Just so I can learn what's happening in this area. But this might actually be easier to route. Where do I go after this? I guess back down. Both of those floor switches do need to be used. So I guess the line I traced looks something like this. This. No. No. Okay, the line I traced looks more like bunny hop here, air hyper, up left, climb or wall jump, reverse air hyper, wall bounce, touch switch, right or down right to hit that spring, right, forward hyper on that, hope this regrows, it's gonna have to, I think. So forward hyper to put that down, get back up there assuming that regrows. Now, metal spring friend might be in the area at that time. I don't think I use it though, I think I'm gonna be ahead of it. Forward... no, hold on. I do a second air hyper on this. Forward air hyper. Wait, no. No, I don't wall bounce on this, do I? I don't wanna. I don't think I need to. There's a yellow thing there, so I think I just like dip in and back out. I don't know what that crystal's for. Then I gotta ring them all, spring on that to survive, use the friends I've brought along to survive after that. These'll all go who knows where, hopefully not toward me. But I may have to survive the storm of spikes. And then these here look like they'll stop all movers. And I continue on that one. Alright, that is my initial parse of this room. It's big and involved, and we're going to be here for a long time. So, I'll see you next time to work through another chunk of it.